When practicing the American accent, there's something absolutely vital that you'll need to know about. I'm talking about stress. Just now, which word stood out to you most of all when I said that? You're probably thinking of the words stress and absolutely vital. That's because I drew attention to those words by putting stress on them. Stress is absolutely vital. This is a perfect example of how stress works in our pronunciation of American English. We give certain words or syllables emphasis in order to draw attention to them. Understanding where to put that stress will dramatically improve your capability of communicating clearly and effectively with other English speakers. So stress is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lillian and I'm so glad you found me. I work as an accent coach for non-native speakers of English, and I create videos like these in order to help you improve your American accent. So please hit the like button if you like this video and hit subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. In terms of pronunciation, stress means emphasis. So just like I gave emphasis to the words stress and absolutely vital, I was putting stress on those words. Every single multisyllabic word in English has a distinctive stress pattern. Take the word banana, for example. If we break it into syllables or parts of a word, it sounds like banana. In this word, only the middle syllable is stressed, na. The other syllables are unstressed and are actually reduced to a shorter, almost you could say lazier pronunciation. Think about it. We don't say banana. That would be stressing all three syllables. Instead, we reduce the first and the third syllable and pronounce them as an sound. This reduction of the vowel to an sound is actually called a schwa, and it comes up a lot, but we'll save that for a different video. Basically, we pronounce the word banana with the proper stress placement by saying the middle syllable a little bit longer and clearer than the other syllables. So the stress pattern turns out to be short, long, short. If we made the mistake of putting the stress on the first syllable, it would sound like banana. Or if we put it on the third syllable, it would sound like banana. Both complete mispronunciations of the word. If you haven't already noticed, stress placement is very important because if pronounced incorrectly, then it can confuse your listeners or it can completely change the meaning of a word. Take this word, for example. I'm going to pronounce this word with two stress patterns. The first, long, short, and second, short, long. Listen carefully. Produce. Produce. If you don't hear the difference yet, don't worry, you'll get there, I promise. I'm going to say them again, this time with accompanying sentences. Produce. Where's the produce section at the grocery store? Produce. The company's going to produce a new line of clothing. Same spelling, two completely different pronunciations. Produce with the stress on the first syllable refers to vegetables, whereas produce with the stress on the second syllable is the verb meaning to make or manufacture. Try listening for the stress patterns on these following words. Picture, picture, table, table, reply, reply, forget, forget, beautiful, beautiful. Here's a little trick. You may have noticed that for the nouns and adjectives, the stress was on the first half of the word, whereas for the verbs, the stress was on the second half. This is actually quite common and is the reason for why we pronounce the differences between produce and produce. When the stress is on the first half, it's usually a noun, and when the stress is on the second, it turns into a verb. Something that might help you listen for the stress pattern within words is by listening for the overall stress pattern in beats, as in music. We'll use the same words that we just went over. The three patterns that came up were long, short, short, long, and long, short, short. Picture and table both follow the long, short stress pattern. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Picture, table. Reply and forget follow the short, long stress pattern. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Reply, forget. And lastly, the word beautiful follows the long, short, short stress pattern. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. Beautiful. For larger words, oftentimes there will be multiple stressed syllables. Take the word technological, for example. There's two stresses. The stress is on te and la, technological. In those cases, usually there's one stressed syllable that's pronounced at a higher pitch than the other stressed syllable. but that's a topic for another time. Now that we've talked about stressed syllables within words, we're going to be talking about stressed words within sentences. You've already seen one example in my video introduction when I stressed the words absolutely vital and stress. I brought attention to them by pronouncing them a little bit louder and slower. Listen to the following sentences to see if you can hear the stressed words in those sentences. And as you listen, think about which words make up the most meaning of those sentences and why I would want to emphasize them in the first place. I'd like a cup of coffee, please. What are your hours? The weather looks great today. How did you know? I'm reading a book about astronomy. Don't rewind just yet. We're going to continue working on these sentences. In each of those sentences, the stressed words alone make up the complete meaning of the sentence. Like coffee. I'd like a cup of coffee, please. What hours? What are your hours? Weather, great. The weather looks great today. How, no. How did you know? Reading, book, astronomy. I'm reading a book about astronomy. The unstressed words get reduced or spoken faster with less clarity, and sometimes they disappear completely. I like to call these words grammar or function words because they usually provide grammatical structure to the sentence. Listen to these sentences again, this time listening for the unstressed words to see how they get reduced and spoken faster with less clarity. I'd like a cup of coffee, please. I'd like a cup of coffee, please. What are your hours? What are your hours? The weather looks great today. The weather looks great today. How did you know? How did you know? I'm reading a book about astronomy. I'm reading a book about astronomy. So there you have it. We've briefly talked about stressed syllables and stressed words and sentences. Now, if this seems like a lot to take in right now, please do not worry. Just the fact that you now know that these stress patterns exist is enough to help you start noticing them in everyday speech. Improving your English communication skills always starts with awareness and listening. Once you're aware of something, then you'll start to notice it in everyday speech. And then when you start to notice it, you'll be able to replicate and practice it on your own. So please never get discouraged. The process goes, number 1, become aware. Number 2, notice it around you. And number 3, practice it on your own. I believe that with practice and patience, you're going to do great. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up or subscribe if you found this video helpful. Please also comment if you have video suggestions for other topics, or if you have questions on what you learned today. Check the link in the description below for more exercises, and as always, good luck practicing your American accent.